So we are going to go from the top today. Actually, we could just go from top to bottom to top. Asura in the chat with his list right here, post ban list, his branded deck list, post ban list. So of course, we do this series semi-regularly now, where we roast our community's ban or deck list to try to help them out. Of course, give deck building advice and see where get a pulse on the meta. So, yeah, no, my mic was not working. So, 2 Fallen of Albaz, 2 Aluber. This is basically the. Oh no, this is different too. So that's spice. And then 1 of each Bestial besides Druistorm and Baldrake, and then 3 Shrouded Dragon. The way you have it ordered is a little disorienting, I'm not gonna lie. Try to order your guys' decks if possible, but branded opening, Old Sark into 3 fusion deployment, 2 super poly. I don't really, it's kind of I feel like super poly definitely could be good in a broad format like this, where we don't exactly know where things are going necessarily. So like, it could be quite good, it could be not good. It's kind of a high variance kind of card right now, I feel like. So definitely, I would wonder like if you've tested with it, how you've liked super poly so far. And you have brand white 3 Book of Eclipse for the best board breaker on top of super poly, and the Nadir servants for helping the branded fusion. I do like Nadir in this kind of context, but you don't have Maximus, so maybe add the Maximus plus a Garura. Yeah, where's the Maximus? You have Garura but no Maximus. You should be running Maximus. So that's my roast of the main deck. And then 3 Droll and Lockbird is okay right now. I'd say Droll and Phantasme is fine. It's either, I think Nib is better than Droll personally in our decks because it's a light and it basically accomplishes generally the same thing in the current meta. And then, I mean, it depends, right? Because you can, if Droll hits the High King Caesar line more. And then Soul Release, Dark Ruler. Yeah, no, I like the list. I'd probably just make a couple changes there. And then we got Viros in the chat, aka Mr. Corey, 2. Oh boy, he has a Tenpai list for us. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to just say we hate Tenpai, but no, I'll roast the list, of course. But Tenpai, my favorite deck. So 3 shifter in the main. You're doing it right already. And I didn't know you also play Tenpai. Very interesting, very interesting. I do like the list. I think the board breaker approach is generally correct on top of the shifter with obviously like the Ash Blossom. I think you should probably be running 3 Ash Blossom, but that's just me. I do think that you have so many one-ofs. I'd be running like Cross Out somewhere, but there's also things like Power Filter I'd be running in the side deck for Yubel, because you need the Power Filter to be able to actually even play against Yubel. So going first, definitely probably do power filters. Singing Kaiman in the side deck is pretty interesting. I like the trap. The Sangan trap is pretty cool. I like the droplets. Overall, very solid list. It's Tenpai. You know how it be. I would probably... Oh, it's 1 Sangan. What? Why is this... This is supposed to be post-ban list score. Anyways, this is post-ban list brand. 2 Aluber, 3... of course, the 3 Albaz, the boy. 48 card list. 48 card list is not bad at all. I do think that's all good. So what are thoughts on Patchwork Engine now, says Anbu? I hate Patchwork Engine right now, honestly, because DD High King Caesar makes it so Patchwork can't be a board break. So yeah, don't run it. And branded right now. I like this list. I do like the Baldrake. It's kind of spicy. Baldrake is currently really cracked. And you do have the Maximus on top of 2 Nadirs with 3 Allures with 2 High Spirits and 2 Duplications with no Thrust. So since you have no Thrust, I can understand those extenders, because those are all like pseudo thrusts. So I guess that's fine. And then you do have the Banishment for the Light and Darkness Dragon in the side deck. I'd probably main deck it. If anything, you could probably take out the... You don't need the Brigand, the Glory Dragon, but it's spicy, right? Like, what's the theory behind the Brigand? Obviously, you can search out the Mercurier, but I feel like overall, you don't really need that. You're usually supposed to search that off of the branded in the branded loss, so you could definitely just main deck the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord at that point. I like the Masquerade in the main. I think that the side deck's almost good on that part, and the main deck's actually quite good, especially without the Thrust. We just gotta get our boy Thrust. Maybe you could run 3 Saronir and then 3 High Spirit and then 3 Lubellion and go with 50 cards. I think 3 Lubellion's very good, and then just like maxing out on the Bestials will make it so that High Spirits and Allure is always live, so you're able to play through hand traps and everything. I think that would be probably the play personally. Oh, yeah, and then Asura said his list was inspired by Galzo, which makes sense, so shout out to Galzo once again. Also, I do like the ad-lib in the main on top of Puppet, because a lot of the time I wish I had ad-lib, because sometimes it's better than Puppet. Okay, specific for my locals, shout out to Doug in the chat. Wow, we got Duality, that's spicy. Duality plus a Stellar is spice. Okay, deck specific for my locals. There's a lot of Tenpai, Sprite, and a little Runic Beast. And only 1 Fiendsmith Chimera. A lot of games go to time and end up losing to Gagaga Cowboy, sadly. That is crazy. So that is why he's still on the Spooky Dogwood. Obviously, Lacrima got the Banhammer. Rest in peace, Bozo on the Lacrima, of course. But, you know, if there are time issues, you know, I've always talked about the local meta being something you have to kind of be considerate of what you are preparing for overall. It's definitely something to consider in that kind of context, but you do have the Duality, which is pretty cool, and then the one, a Stellar. Stellar's been really good in my opinion. We have no grass is greener yet. I want to see some grass piles. Hopefully we got some. 3 High Spirits and then 3 Droplet with the white. 1 red makes sense with no desires. You really don't need the 2 red if you're not running desires, but I still like it with the banishment and the white. There might be a little bit too many bricks, but you do run the 3 Cartesia on top of the 2 Duality, so I'm wondering how you like the Duality, how good it is. I wish Duality could go out to Light and Darkness Dragon Lord, but sadly it cannot. Do you think that Tenpai is still Tenpai? I mean, now that I got the ban list, it definitely... The ban list hit Tenpai kind of, you know, like... Pot Prosperity's at 1 now. Field Spell's at 1, so those are 2 hits to the deck. Deck's still very good, but... Yeah, no, I used to think Tenpai was like the buy before Genroku, and then Genroku came out, and I had to reassess that, assessment I made about Tenpai. Man, I hate facing Shifter and Tenpai. If you go over the lines or what to do in those situations, that would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, I already have a combo video on that. If you go to my last 2 combo videos, I went over Shifter lines, except for, or not my last 2, but if you go under the Lad combo guide, I go under the Shifter lines there for Lad. And also I have a Thunder Dragon deck profile that has combos with it. I would check that out as well. Okay, side deck is pretty cool. You do have the board breaker approach. I'd maybe get some Charmies if you have that option, obviously, over like, because there's too many board breakers in here. Like Imperm is a bit weak as well, but if you need it for like very specific situations, then I understand. And the Dragoon is very spicy. I want to know how Dragoon is. Obviously, Typhon is not really in the meta at the moment, really. So I think with Zealantis either. So I think that Dragoon has an easy time kind of surviving right now. So yeah, let's go to the next deck list. Mr. Powski's deck list here. 60 card grass. We got what we asked for. We prayed and we got it. So yeah, 60 card grass branded, 3 High Spirits with the Shiren and the Stellar, of course, with the 1 Magma and then the 3 Saronir. He made the additions I needed to make, guys, to my list. Those are the additions. But he added another Retribution, another white, and then the Banishment. I really do like this variation. These are things I would consider. I would say the Banishment is quite unnecessary if you're running white, in my opinion. I think Banishment's kind of a brick, in my opinion. I've always thought Banishment's a brick. Like, if I could do anything but run Banishment, that's just kind of my theory. Like, I've released the combos for it, like if you guys want the combos, but I do like this list. I think it's a perfect list. I don't really have anything to say about it. Oh, the side deck. Maybe I can roast the side deck. Brandstor in the side is kind of capped. I'd get that out. I get that for Shifter maybe, but not really. Change of Heart Spicy and the Phantasme is probably why I should have considered instead of Molcharmy, because it's also a dark and a dragon, so in some situations better than Molcharmy. Masquerade in the side's just fine. Like the Stapelli in the main with this Elba in the main. Very good list. Very, very good list. Snow Wolf in the chat with branded 60 grass. We do have 3 triple tactics talents, which is kind of nuts. I would not be running that. Oh, and also on the last list, I would say run 3 Lubellion in this list. You need 3 Lubellion. You need more darks when you're running the high spirits and allure, so you probably should take out like the retribution and then like 1 retribution, 1 banishment for like 2 Lubellions personally. Or like also add a Cartesia. I just think you need more monsters, or else you might get some bricky hands on high spirits and allure of darkness generally. So this one, I do like the fact you have 3 Lubellion, and then you have obviously my board breaker package of 3 droplet, 3 eclipse, but you added on to that your own spice with the talents. I do love that. The 3 talents is really cool. Tell me how you like that if you tested it at all yet, because no, it's pretty early in the format, so you know, not all things are kind of, you know, there yet. But so yeah, you do have the grass is greener. Grass is greener is insane in this deck. If you mill like any combination of these, like of a couple monsters, you're basically full combo. It's pretty crazy because all these cards are good mills. Every single card is a good mill, except for like, I mean, a Luber's even a good mill, which is crazy. Like every brandy card is a good mill. A Stellar in the graveyard is a great mill because then you can just like special summon it off of Lubellion. It's really crazy. Yeah, no, it's definitely very good main deck overall. I have actually no complaints about the main deck. Very perfect. And the extra deck is very cool. I do like the Lad. I think you did Lad over Masquerade. I think you need the Masquerade for the Shiren, though. What are you making off of Shiren? So I would just, besides like Lubellion, so I'd just like put the Masquerade over the Lad or Masquerade over Stapelli. And then you have the 2 Druid Swarm, which is definitely, I would say Baldrake would be better than one of the Druid Swarms personally, because Druid Swarm is kind of like mid in our deck personally. No, this list, yeah, this list is by Fos. And he has an explanation for it. I like the list in the test hands, but maybe someone sees a big F up. I really don't like Pod Desire, so that's my only no-no. But apart from that, I'm open to any suggestion. Yeah, no, you're at 51, so like 51, you don't need to run Pod of Desires. I think this kind of list is just fine without Desire. You don't need Desires, and like, I think at 50, you're doing just fine. I think this list is actually very solid for a 50-card list. 3 Shrouded, 3 Aluber, 1 Kit, 3 carts, 2 Quine, maybe 1 cart. I think 3 cart, 1 Stellar is too much for 50 cards, so I'd cut 1 cart personally. And then 3 Allure. Yeah, no, sounds about right. And then 1 branded in white. I would just say, like, obviously if you want to run the grass, it's pretty tough not to run Desires with running 60, because if you're not running Desires and you're at 60, you just have a draw problem issue with some of your hands where it's just kind of, you'll brick with it, so without it. So there's no real equivalent either, like besides maybe Patchwork, but not really. So this list is pretty solid, though. You do have the you do have the banishment, though. Like I said, guys, I prefer the second red or like a white. I just think those cards are way better. The trap card is just so, I need my cards to be good going first and second, and retribution is not good going second, so I will never stand for retribution personally. But no, I get it. And I can't even be harsh on people. Like, please do not take this as me being harsh on banishment. I just, did I say retribution? God damn it. I meant branded banishment. I'm capping in the chat, guys. Roast me in the chat. Roast me in the chat. I'm roasting your deck list. You can roast me. Yeah, no. So, banishment is just kind of weak, in my opinion, going first. So, but it's like, I like the card. I'm just saying in this kind of meta, where you really need your cards to be good going second. The deck's a bit all over the place with the 3 Phantasme and then the 1 Ash Blossom Dragon and the Borreload and Mask. I would not be siding Borreload. That should be in the main deck. You can take out very easily, probably I mean, can you take out anything very easily? You have to take out the Stapelia or the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord, and you could take out the Banishment and the Lad and then put back in Boral, or you could run the Lad over the Stapelia or the Lad over the Alba. But I think you need Alba this format. That's definitely something that I've been just noticing with all the Tenpai just Dissipators going around. It's pretty solid. And then the 1 Feather Duster plus 3 Cross Out 3 evenly plus 1 Blazing Branded King, and the D barrier. I like the side deck. I just like the cross out, maybe not. It just because people aren't looping D barrier like they were, so I don't think it's very important to have cross out right now, personally. Here in the chat, his classic Slayer in the chat with his list from Yugioh. Man, Tenpai shifter deck is such BS. The deck doesn't need shifters. I agree. Shifter and called by should be a 2 to reduce the consistency of the win con. Maybe, but then everyone has to run called by a 2. That's the issue. Antonio Pampazzi, thank you. I'm Powski. I'm trying to work on the side because I know that it's not the best possible. Love from Italy. No problem, Antonio. Dude, man, I think Tenpai gets more interesting with the field spell put to 1. I mean, I agree. I mean, interesting insofar as they have to choose new cards. I'm not sure Like if they start deck building different, I would love to see that. If they start running like dragon rulers, that'd be really cool. I love branded banishment, so it's shiny. I get it. Thanks for the roast, Chris. Really enjoyed the content. Keep it up. No problem, Mighty Gamble. Versus Tenpai, I would rather go deep barrier going first. So if you get shifter, you can search out with thrust. Oh, understandable. Turn skip. All war gaming, man. I hate facing shifter and Tenpai. If you can go over the lines of what to do in those situations. Yeah, no. So we can definitely like do an updated guide to the shifter lines. Like maybe a dedicated video of what to do against shifter. Definitely can do that. What's up, BPA? Nice to see you. Can I get my banishment? Is not good if you're not running the Ubel package. It's good with the Ubel package though. Fair enough. I also think it gets better with ad-lib too. So this list is by Slayer. I do like the main deck. 3 Eclipse, 3 Droplet, 3 High Spirit, 1 Banishment, 3 Aluber, 3 Cartesia, 2 Quem, 1 Lubellion, 3 Saronir. I'd probably go up the Bestial count for the... maybe, but I don't know. You're not even running a lure, so it's probably fine. Just like, I actually have no complaints with this main deck, frankly, and what you're trying to do. Good extra deck, too. You got the Lad, of course. Double Guignol, all the bells and whistles, plus the Boral. In the main extra deck, of course. And no problem, guys. I hope I'm, like, being respectful, too. Like, deck building, that's the great part about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the deck building part. You can, like, make your deck however you want. That's one of the coolest parts about it. I think one of the best parts about Branded is deck building. You get to really... play it how you want. You can really, it's kind of like build it your way. It's like building a McDonald's Big Mac kind of thing. Like you get to make it your way, you know, like how you want the deck to perform. You know, if you want to be going aggressive with the gimmick locks, you can, or you could be doing, you know, triple Mirror Jade until the cows come home. All right, so this is the list from Ozzy Oz, my first dive into branding. I'm testing it for a bit because I may want to play it IRL. Looking forward to it. That being said, I'm on a budget. No thrust for me as of right now. Anything dramatically wrong or improvable on this list? I would say the first thing I see is the patchwork engine should not be in your main deck. I know I loved this engine last format. It was one of the best engines last format. I just think it's not good right now because of DD King Caesar being in everyone's deck. So I would take that out for... Book of Eclipse. Book of Eclipse is really good going first because you can dodge impermanence. If they go imperm and then you chain Book of Eclipse, then you can dodge it and then your Aluber still searches off a branded fusion. So definitely 3 Book of Eclipse and then you can run over that. I mean, it looks like you need a second Quem, but obviously you don't have the thrust. So I'd look at things like Nadir Servant to make up for that gas you don't have in that way to play around Ash Blossom. Also, 3 High Spirits is something you can consider with multiple Bestials. Like go up to 2, 3 Saronir and Lubellion, and then 3 High Spirits. Like 3 High Spirits, 3 Allure, and then maybe Allures or 3 Fusion Duplication. Or sorry, Nadirs or Fusion Duplication. Yeah, no, that sounds about right for the list. And then the side deck. Alba Linnaeus on the side is understandable. And then Gizmek Uka. I think Uka is definitely something to consider this format, especially if Ubel is going to be one of the best decks, because it's still pretty good against Ubel. And if Snake Eye actually survives, which I don't think it will, but if it does, it's going to be pretty good against them, obviously. So I do think that Uka, definitely keep onto your Uka, and so I won't complain about that. And it is a hand trap, and in 50, you're going to see your side more, so I can understand running hand traps and a 50 card build more. I ran like 9 hand traps last format to stop the FTK. That was in 60 cards. I had to like side 9 so I could like actually try to see one. And I'm happy with the word breaker package, and the sprint is spicy in the side, and the extra. I'd learned the sprite sprined lines. It's very good. They're very good. Yeah, we're just trying to bust out these lists here. Okay, so what do I have here? Zanaki's list. Got Mr. Zanaki in the chat. We got 2 Albaz. We got a Galzo inspired 40 card right here. 2 Albaz, 2 Aluber. You love to see it. I think it's very correct. 1 Cartesia old art, 1 Cartesia new art. That is a very power move. You're like, I gotta have it both ways, you know. So I think that's very cool. You got 1 all art Aluber plus 2 normal Alubers, because I think he just prefers the normal Aluber, but he's like, hey man, I want to dabble. I want to get my Sakuna Aluber on for a second. 1 Quem definitely run more than one Quem, but that's just me. Super Poly is, I'd run Book of Eclipse. And besides that, take out the Blazing Branded King and put it in the side deck. Oh, we have the Examina stuff in the side deck. Yeah, I do like what you're doing here. This is spicy. But the Examina stuff should probably just be in the main deck, and then you can go to 50 cards, right? And then run like Allure of Darkness. Put the Gimmick Puppet in the main. Etude with no synchro is really crazy. I don't know how much experimenting with Examina on the side going first. Have you branded Yubel Chimera, so made Super Polyon in that case? Well, that's fair. Okay, so there's theory. All right, so I caught up on all those. Now I have to catch up with the lists that were posted once I started doing things. I have Rev's list here. What's up, Rev? Rev wants me to roast him. What's up, buddy? So Rev's 50 card branded list here. That's $70. Budget branded at its finest. Rev. We need to talk, bro. You're running the Patchwork engine when DD King Caesar is going to negate you on every instance of Poly trying to resolve. You don't even have branded lost at 3, so there's no way this is going to resolve into a Guardian Chimera. You do have the Super Poly, though. You have the Super Poly, so that might help you. I would just say remove the Patchworks and put in the Book of Eclipses and stop the cap. Besides that, the main deck's just fine. Banishment and Dark Magician are the only points of contention where I'm like, I would like to remove those for more Bestial. I'd also say maybe 2 High Spirits in this build. Also, Jasser, thanks for subscribing before. The real BK, thanks for, or I think I already said that, yeah. Don't you mean Subway, says Revelation? Yeah, I do think I meant Subway. I knew I got the fast food chain incorrect, so I misplayed there. I like how you and EPA are friends now in the chat. It's awesome. And the brother, I tried using Allure, however, it didn't really work. So yeah, you always, to run Allure successfully, you have to have enough darks. And that's what I love about Patchwork. It makes Allure go like really purr. Like this deck list works really well that Rev has with the because the High Spirits Allure plus Patchwork is like, it's like an engine in itself. It just like self-sustains itself. Like it makes it so Allure, you always have a dark, you always have something to plus off of because Patchwork triggers off of High Spirits, and then Allure of Darkness, obviously. Or sorry, Edgem Chain triggers off of being sent off of High Spirits, rather. How can I send my deck? You post in the deck list channel of my Discord, !Discord in the YouTube chat, guys. Also, shout out to you guys on Twitch. I do appreciate you, GZ1K, holding it down on Twitch. Nah, my list really just got ignored. GZ1K, where I'm getting to your list. Where's your list? I don't see your list, GZ1K. Where did you post your list? Oh, well, I missed Card Limit's list. I missed Sammy's list, I guess, but where's yours? I was only reviewing the lists that were posted today. Like, if you have a new list, definitely post it. I don't see your list. Wait. Oh, you posted. It was so small. Okay. Yeah, I scammed you again, GZ1K. I'm MetaGamesGX strikes again. So this is GZ1K's 42 card list. I do like 42 where like if you run like I like 45. I think Fig's form also always said like if you're running branded, like the optimal build is at least like 45. Like your branded does really well with like a lot of cards or with more than 40. So I think like 42 at least gives you the option to add like extra things. It's a really clean list as well. You have 2 Cartesia, 2 Quem, which I love in a 40 card list, 2 Quem. So, and then you have the Stellar too. So you have the best of both worlds, and you have enough spells, I think, to make a Stellar good enough. You do have the 1 Shrouded Dragon, which is a little sus. I would probably put that up to 3. And then you do have the Nadir Servant plus the Maximus with no thrust, which I do think that is the best anti. If you don't have the thrust, you run the Nadir package for sure with Maximus. So you do have the Super Poly or no Super Poly to go along with it, but you do have the Guru in the side deck or extra deck, so I like that. Banishment in the main deck for the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord on top of branded and white on top of red. I can't hate on it. I would just say I would like more Bestials in a build like this when you're running Allure of Darkness personally. But overall, I think the 1 talent or 2 talents also, I don't think there's enough board breakers in this deck too, so I'd probably add Book of Eclipse. Book of Eclipse is our best board breaker right now, so I think you do need more Book of Eclipse. You could potentially run 3 talents as your board breaker too. I'm like 4 hours of sleep the last 2 nights, but I'm doing just fine. The new format has me up and energetic. So in the extra deck, 2 Mirror Jade, 2 Albion, 1 Lubellion, 1 Guignol. Definitely go to the 2 Guignol, but you don't even run the puppet. So yeah, where's the ad lib though? If you don't run puppet, you need ad lib. You need the ad lib in there as well, especially if you're running banishment. Like you're inting GZ1K without ad lib in your main deck. You gotta get Discord, man, says EPA. You really do, EPA. You really do. We have the best Discord community ever. I'd love to have you in there. And then also you would get access to the coaching group chat where you can just ask me anything off air. At a scammer GX, says EP. That's a new one. Yeah, bro, get it, says Corey. I'm waiting for the tins for the other 2 thrusts. Oh, fair. Do you have... Where's the 1 thrust, though? You should just main the 1 thrust at that point. Still play 2 Mercurier, says EPA, but I use it mainly in Bestial / Gold Sark. Fair enough. Lurf also forces you to play 2 Merc and 2 Tragedy. You don't... Actually, it's 2 and 1 is the correct ratio. You don't have to do 2 and 2. EPA, I've also been using the Nadir package plus Gurua and Elder Entity in the side. I do think that's really cool. You could also run Malong, which bounces, which might like be better for floating. I think that Entis removing cards, though, is way better. We do have Sammy's Melodious Spriteless here. I really like it. It's sprite cards, it's melodious. There's some Ice Barrier cards. What else do you want? It's really spicy, actually. You also can go into Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, which is just crazy. And we also have card limits, 60 card God Pile. I hope Card Limits is still here. Shout out to Card Limits if he's still here. I do appreciate you, brother. Sorry we took so long to get to the deck list. But yeah, no, the 60 card God Pile, 2 Obelisk of the Tormentor, and then 1 Spirit Raw, and then 2 the Winged Dragon Raw, 2 Slifer the Sky Dragon, and then 3 Raw Sphere Mode with 3 of the Planetary Pathfinder, and then 2 of the Spooky Dogwood in the main deck, because of course he is able to actually use the life point differential to be able to go up in attack points with some of his monsters, so it's pretty cool. And then he does have the Numeron Wall, because of course this is Numeron God. You are able to, it's a going second build. No Desires, he does have the Droplets though, and then Memories of Hope with lots of draw power. He does have the he does run the Tasano Shinjuku or whatever it's called. It's basically this spell card that allows you to tribute a level 10 from hand or field to draw 2 cards. I think it's a quick play too, which is kind of crazy. He does main deck the Lightning Storm and the Feather Duster, which should have been your main indication that, of course, this is a going second deck. He does have the Terraforming. I do wonder if he'd like Thrust in this kind of build, honestly. I feel like Thrust would kind of go hard. We do have Elix list right here. What's up, Elic, in the chat? How you doing? How you doing? I sent my list on Cord, Chris. Well, I got it. Got right in front of us. What do you think, Chris? Well, let's see. It's the list of all time. No, it's definitely a good list offhand. I do like the Ecclesia, but you have no Gizmek Uka. If you're running Ecclesia, you might as well be siding the Ecclesia. Also, the Dracostapelia and Borreload Furious, I just have to say offhand, should not be in the side deck. They are not side deck cards. I would just take out the Dragoon, and then obviously you are running the Super Poly though, so it's like you have to make concessions. I would just put in Borrel over Dragoon, call it a day on that front. And then put in 1 Mirror Jade, and then put in a second Guignol, because you have no, actually you don't need the second Guignol, you're not running Puppet. So you could just take out the 1 Mirror Jade and then maybe do Stapelia over that. And then like main a Shiren to be able to like fuse back the second Mirror Jade. I just think you need more space. I do like the main deck. You do have a board breaker package of 3 Dark Ruler and then 3 Super Poly, which is definitely very solid because you do actually run the Guru Mud Dragon, which is when Super Poly is at its best, so you can actually always break the board. And you do have the Ecclesia in the main, which is a cool card even without the Gizmekuka. I just think, you know, because it's a quick play tribute, summon Fallen of Albaz, it's also, but it's not really that easily summonable or searchable, so it's just not the best. And you do have the 2 kit. I would probably go down to 1 kit. I do like the 1 duality. Of course, it's a once per turn, so make sure you don't brick on it. You run the 1 of your Diaz tech, 1 Branded Banishment, and then the side deck besides that, the 3 Nib, probably take that out and then put in like Mulchummies for the board breakers. Very good list. Oh no, not the Spooky Dogwood, folk. Not the Spooky Dogwood. I understand Spooky Dogwood though. I just don't think we need it in our format unless you have like a specific issue with time, like the other guy did, who said like his locals, it's just a time specific thing. Everything goes to time. Siren plus the 3 Albaz, plus the 3 Shroud Dragon, plus the 1 Magnuma, and then 2 Saronir, plus 3 Aluber, plus 2 Cartesia, plus 2 Quem. 1 Grass is greener. Oh, this is grass deck with Nadir. I kind of like grass with Nadir because like Nadir can just fish out the Quem or like Maximus that you mill. You don't run the Maximus though, which I feel like is a shame with Nadir. Like Maximus is just it really takes it to the next level when you, especially when you already side the Garura. Like, you should just do that. Like, main the Garura, then take out, like, the Stapelia and the, like, the Alba for the Mud Dragon. Because I don't think you need Alba if you have Super Poly, because then you can just Super Poly the board. You're running Book of Eclipse. You're really sweet talking me here on this list when you run Book of Eclipse. Because whenever I see Book of Eclipse, I'm like, this guy knows what he's talking about. It's just crazy and branded. It's our best board breaker by far. I just feel like you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't run it, you know? Because you're able to dodge Imperm, you're able to dodge Veiler, you're able to dodge Ghost Mourner, which are cards that every good deck runs 9 copies of. Besides that, I would say the Spooky Dogwood could probably go on the side unless you have an issue of time. And put the Guru in the main. This was Trey's deck list. That's a Trey. And I think this is the last deck list. We have Woobo's deck list here. And it is a purely deck list. So that is very interesting, actually. I haven't had a purely deck list in a minute. Got Purely Gamer in the chat. I appreciate you coming in these branded waters, in these troubling times. I saw someone say, like, they should bring back one of the purely spells to 3 so that you could play Desires and not just get blown out by Desires, which I found pretty cool. But your deck did get hit a little bit by Prosperity to 3, no? But obviously you're running a Legal Knight in the main. You gotta explain that one to me. So, like, how, like, what are you doing with a Legal Knight? You're also running a Griffin Rider, but okay, so you do have the adventure package. I didn't notice the adventure package. So this is adventure purely. Right of Erismere just like blended in as a purely card to me for some reason there. You're also running Board Breaker purely, which is interesting. I would say though, you have to explain that reasoning to me, because purely is typically a deck that does best when you can search or you can draw hand traps in your opponent's draw phase off of the Sleepy Memory being attached. And it's like, you're running Sleepy Memory, so you might as well run the hand traps, because elsewise you're not drawing into anything you need. That's why Purely is kind of forever stuck to as a deck that needs to run hand traps, as long as they have their current win cons, which is like draw 4 every turn plus unaffected. I like the adventure engine though. That's kind of spicy. I'm curious what you thought about that. Can you explain how Book dodges, says Leo S? So Book of Eclipse dodges because if a target is no longer face up after it's been targeted, the effect will always fizzle on it. So if you target like Aluber with infinite impermanence, like, so I go Chainlink 1 Aluber and my opponent goes Chainlink 2 Effect Veiler. I go Chainlink 3 Book of Eclipse, and then my Aluber, your chain will resolve backwards. So Chainlink 3 Book of Eclipse books my Aluber. Now Aluber is no longer being targeted by Book of Eclipse because it's face down. So it basically like shrugs off that target, and you're able to resolve Book of Eclipse. You just can't quite target a face down Aluber with a Veiler, so that's why it won't no longer work. You can't target a face down monster with Imperm. That's why it doesn't work. Oh no, not the spooky dog ghost. I'm afraid of women, says EP. Which card should I exchange with Garura? Says, let me see. Still have your list up, don't I? It's probably gonna be Alba Laneda, and you could just like side Laneda. You could just do that swap there. That or like the second Mirror Jade, because you do run the Shiren. I personally would do the second Mirror Jade. You forgot me. It says Lee Warrior. Oh yeah, I did. My bad, Maxi. So we do have, who was this? Decklists, Raven Dews. So these will be the last 2 deck lists. This is 49 card branded with Maximus and Nadir, so I like that already. You have Thrust and you still play Nadir, which is interesting. I would probably just play Allures at that point, but you gotta let me know how you like the Nadir. That's something I've been wanting to test more of this format, is like Nadir, because against Shifter it's bad, but like every other deck it's great going first. I just don't know about going second. You need like every card going second, and this card does not help you win going second. Helps you establish a game state. Ugh. Oh boy. So like, yeah, those are the changes. Maybe go 52, like make a clan 50. Also more Bestials perhaps because of the 3 High Spirit, and then you would be running Alert. I do really like the Book of Eclipse, and then Dark Ruler's like fine. I'd probably say Droplets generally better, but Dark Ruler's fine. Side deck Droplet should probably be in the main, but obviously it's kind of like my list. You're just interchanging them. Magnemite should be in the main. Hold for the Purely, I'm assuming. Elsewise, probably take it out. Like if you don't always play a purely duelist at your local. You don't need Herald in the side. But I understand, like, we do kind of, like, hate our purely matchup. Just win the die roll. 2 talents. Probably take those out for, like, Mulchummies or something. Phantasme, Uka. And then, Garura for the Nadir Servant, and then 2 Guignol and Sprine. 1 Mirjade. I'd throw in the Shiren if you're on 1 Mirjade or 1 Adlib. Definitely need one of those options to recur the 2nd Mirjade. Yeah, I don't think you definitely do, but it would help. Besides that, solid list. And we do have Runic. We have Runic Stun? Runic Whitewoods? Runic Whitewoods. By Maxi, we have an updated Runic Whitewoods build. I'm happy we get to see what it looks like post-Banlist. Basically the same, except you only have 1 skill drain. That's crazy. But you do run the chicken game, which is interesting. How do you like the chicken game, Maxi? And you do run the 2 Bestials because those are great bodies with the level 2 tuners. And then the terraforming plus the tails and the Whitewoods cards. And you do main deck the evenly matched because you don't really want to run hand traps in a Runic deck, obviously. Plus the talents, so very solid main deck. Rest in peace, skill drain, though. Did skill drain change much? And then the extra deck is a bunch of Runic cards. You are not running the Sleipnir. I'd recommend Sleipnir. It's kind of spicy. Also, you could try out the Zapper. Oh, you do have the Zapper Shrimp. But did you know if you run the Zapper Shrimp, you could run also Godia of the Deep Beyond to get a field nuke on your opponent's turn. That's by banishing all the cards on the field. So definitely something that you could consider. You do run the Whitewoods synchros, 1 of each, and then 1 Chengying. You gotta run it. It's a synchro Runic. 1 Baguska is interesting. I like that actually for shifter. And then 1 Typhon and then 1 SP Lil Knight. And the side deck is 3 Phantasme, 3 Mulchummy, 3 Dogwood. I think that's kind of unnecessary. You don't need to do the cursed Italian ratios anymore, where like everyone, the Nesh ratios, where you just run this for Lacrima Burn, but Lacrima Burn's no longer a thing. I like the Scarlight for time, and then 3 Dark Rulers, like fine with the 1 Valor because you can search it through the Whitewoods cards and then Rival. Is there more Nadir? Nadir's okay, but like, I don't know. I feel like there's better options. Just get lucky, man. You need to be skilled in the art of luck. I mean, sometimes that's Yu-Gi-Oh, guys. Sometimes, like a lot of these people who win, they're having a good day, and they play so much Yu-Gi-Oh, they get to have a lot of good days. Big Dingus, do you need to be a member in order to submit a list? Nope. I would like to join, but I'm trying to save money. This game isn't cheap, lol, but I'd like to support the channel by liking and watching all the videos. Well, I do appreciate that, Big Dingus. And yes, you can just post your deck list in the deck list chat. Of course, you do not need to be a member in order to do that. If you have a deck list quick, I can review it.